Start the camera up and let's kneel down in there, and you're gonna be right there.
Okay.
Should be, yeah. Okay, so what are we looking at now?
What we're looking at here is the spring rigging. You obviously can't have a rigid axle set on these things because the track, you know, is going to have some imperfections. It's just how it is. It's like a car. You have suspension. The locomotives need it too. So pins and bushings had been so worn out that it was sagging and not distributing the weight correctly on the axle.
So too much weight on the drivers and not enough being supported by the trucks is what you're saying?
Too much being supported on the trailing trucks.
Gotcha.
And that can possibly lead to cracked boxes.
What kind of box do you mean?
A box is what the babbitt bearing goes into.
Okay. Oh,
and then the box goes around the actual axle, and that slides up right up inside here. This is what we call the jaws.
Let's make sure people can see that. Okay.
And so that goes up underneath it with we use a pit jack. And this is an equalizer beam. There's one here and there's one on the other side of the frame. And then obviously this is the exact same on the engineer side of the locomotive.
Let me grab the camera and get a little closer look so people can really see this.
Okay. We have to case harden, you know.
Oh, hold on. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
We have to case harden the bushings on this one. That's how they do it. It just kind of makes it last longer. But we've turned all new pins there. We replaced these equalizer beams last year when we first received the locomotive. Before we sent it to the movie work for Water for Elephants, it was horrendously bad. It was cutting into the frame.
Wow.
You know, not good.
Can we see where it was cutting into the frame?
No, we really can't because of we have everything set back up.
Okay, gotcha, sure.
But you know, that had been done for, you know, just years of use and not being taken care of.
So I see what you're saying. So there's a linkage right here. Is that part of where the weight sits, or is that just a guide linkage?
Right there, that transfers, because this is connected to the number 4 driver, the spring rigging.
Okay.
So it kind of makes, when the number 4 driver goes over, say, just a little tiny divot or something in the track, it kind of transfers that to the rear, and it sets the rear truck to go over that easy.
So which part of this is actually bearing the weight, like the full weight? I mean, that little linkage right there isn't the thing that transfers it, but it's actually being borne through this piece right here.
Right.
And then down onto the box and the bearing and the wheel set right there. Interesting.
Yeah, and then it finally is finished off with the springs back here.
So what do you call this kind of, is this like those trailer hitches, the equalizing trailer hitches, where that whole mechanism spreads the weight across all the way back to that spring? Am I making any sense?
Yes, yeah, it just it distributes everything, and you know, takes what's the weight of the firebox on the frame here, and because, you know, right now we have it cribbed with wood.
Oh, okay.
Because if we don't have that there when we took this apart, I mean, everything's gonna get all goofy on you, and you don't want that.
I like that technical term, goofy.
Yeah, goofy is a good word for it. So that's how you keep it in line, and you can isolate each driver or trailing truck this way and take care of spring rigging issues if it gets to that point like it has here.
And I mean, how do you know if there's a problem? You're looking at it by inspecting the actual part here, or you're seeing how the locomotive sits?
Well, you're going to look how things sit. Spring rigging is supposed to be level, on a level track, okay?
Okay.
If you got springs sitting this way or something, you know you've got worn out bushings. It's either come out of its place where it's supposed to be sitting, or you've got a broken link somewhere, and you know that's not good.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, it can lead to scarring of axles because it's not bearing the weight properly.
Okay.
It could lead to bad stuff.
That's pretty interesting. I learned a lot right there. So what's the next thing we're going to go look at here?
We're going to go look at the crossheads and the valve gear on the 18 here, and what work we've done onto it.
All right, let's go check it out. So 3, 2, 1. Don's going in front there. Go ahead. You're cool. Okay, so we're back with Charlie Cross. What's the next thing? What you want us to look at the?
We're going to look at the crosshead here. If you had noticed in the last year of operating, which had been 2010 season, some of the videos you kind of heard that that kind of pounding sound.
Especially I heard it when you were coasting downhill.
Right. Some people, I mean, you kind of use a little steam when you're drifting. That keeps the mixing with the oil, the steam oil, which carries down to the cylinders.
Oh, sure.
Which provides lubrication, and it also keeps your running gear kind of taut, so to speak. It's just a little bit. It's not a lot. But anyhow, the crosshead needed a lot of work. It had a lot of slop in it.
Well, forgive me for 1 second. What's a crosshead?
The crosshead takes and the steam and the piston here. Okay, you got the steam. It pushes a piston inside here. But the guide, it keeps the piston in line and true with inside the cylinder.
Okay. And the guide is?
And the guide just kind of keeps it going.
So the guide is those two big
The
rails.
guide is right here, and then the crosshead is right here.
I gotcha. So
and
the crosshead
main rod
slides.
is connected right here. So that steam and the piston gets transferred to the main rod, and that gets transferred to the crank pin on the number 3 driver. And from there, you have the connecting rods, which connect the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 drivers together, and that powers them all together.
So if this thing here is loose or having problems, it affects everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're getting a little bit of blow-by. It's wearing your packing, which keeps the steam from shooting out. It keeps wearing that excessively, and then you get this pound when you're running the locomotive. When you're up there, you can feel it. When you run the locomotive, you run with your feet and your butt. It tells you, it talks to you. And not only that, you have to listen, but you can kind of feel if the engine's happy or not, just by feeling things. But if you were to let it get really bad, it could potentially break the piston.
Okay, wow.
Potentially. Now, it's not going to happen, but I'm not saying it won't.
Right.
It's maybe.
So, but the work you guys are doing is going to make that much less likely.
Right. Yeah, we don't want that. So that's just years of running and, you know, not keeping up with it.
And what's the actual thing that what are you actually doing in here? That I guess that's what I'm still missing.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take this crosshead apart, and we're going to fill in with Babbitt here, and that'll take out the gap and everything here, and it'll make it run smooth. There won't be any up and down lateral movement like that.
So that's basically another bearing right in there.
It is. It's a wearing surface, so yeah, absolutely.
Well, I always think of bearings as being round, but there it is, a square one. And so that's something you have to pour on your stove over there. Huh.
Right.
Wow.
And then we also, the valve gear, which controls how much steam, you know, it's like a transmission, so to speak, and those pins are, you know, everything's connected by pins, and there was a lot of slop in that, so that can eventually kind of make it inefficient over time. So you got to take the wear out of the pins and the slop in the valve gear, and we did that with the number 29 last winter, and we also retimed her and made adjustments.
Okay.
It will reduce the amount of water used and fuel consumed.
And is that on the other end that connects to some control in the cab? Is that the?
Well, it connects. You have a right here another piece of the. This is a Walschaerts valve gear, so you have the union link. This is the lap and combo lever, right here.
Okay.
And this is your radius rod. And then combo lever is connected to the union, and then there's another piece right here that comes off the crosshead, and the union link connects to the crosshead right here. And then we have the eccentric, which runs from here all the way to the eccentric crank, which is on the number 3 driver.
Okay.
And that's how Walschaerts works.
Eccentric means kind of like a camshaft, like with a lobe on it or something?
Well, yeah, it kind of goes around like this, and you know, it works together. But when you make adjustments on your valve gear on Walschaerts, it's primarily on the lap and lead lever right here, the combo lever.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's a lot more than I knew about a steam locomotive. I really appreciate you taking the time to show us this stuff. What else do we want to go look at here?
The next thing we want to kind of go look at is the front truck.
Okay.
On this locomotive.
Let's go do it.